Hey, Sven here. Today is week 1526, April 10th, and I'm checking in again like every Friday with a current picture log video. Wow. So what happened this week has really, after 45 years of software development, truly fascinated me. And I'm still on the wrong page here. Yeah, I'll get back to that later. So last week I told you about this PRD, this product requirements document. And as you can see here on the right on the scroll bar, it's now 340 pages. And that's because we created a very concrete milestone plan here. That means from this document, we need to see where exactly we need to go here. From this document, yes, there are the milestones. We built a milestone and implementation plan. Yes, and this implementation plan is truly fascinating. So first of all, we're talking about 42 tables, 16 modules, 150 API endpoints, and so on. It's honestly pretty incredible. And here you can also see the structure, how the milestones can be worked on depending on each other, so that, for example, parallel processing is also possible. And then all the details about what needs to be implemented step by step. And it's really amazing. And then we started the system and had Claude do the programming, and he actually programmed for 3.5 hours straight and had the entire backend finished by then. And as far as I can tell so far, aside from a few minor things here and there, the backend is really stable. That means everything in the database is correct and all the routes exist. So I'm totally fascinated. I kind of remember the time when I used to watch the progress bar during software installation just out of sheer fascination. And it's really incredible what has happened here. After the backend was finished, we basically derived the front end from it, and we actually made a mistake there. The front end was built and it looked pretty cool too. I was so excited that I immediately showed a few screenshots, and unfortunately, we made a conceptual mistake there. We built the front end based on the PRD, but in reality, during the planning, we should have established a connection from the front end to the back end. That means look at the back end, take the API call, connect it to the root, and then basically create the dialog or the window for it. Yeah, and so it was basically finished and looked really cool. And then I started to take a look at it and test it. And within about 15 minutes, I found like 20 errors. And well, then basically we discussed it back and forth with Claude for a while. And in the end, we came to the conclusion, okay, let's just throw away the front end, the 2.5 hours and the tokens that were used, and let's update the PRD, come up with an improved concept, and then just start over again. And now we've worked quite a lot more on this process, specifically how the dependencies between the individual components of such a relatively complex software can actually be ensured. And so you can see here, this is just the backend again, which I already showed last week. Now we also have color configuration here, as well as all those components I was talking about. We've also added a dark mode by now, because everything should look cool when we use it in the end. And yeah, and if I now go to the first page of the overview, you can see that some things are still under construction here because we're proceeding step by step. But there are a few things we can actually already take a look at. For example, here is the company profile where you can enter your purpose, vision, and mission, for instance. Of course, all of this can also be queried using an LLM. We can already run the first analyses here and much more. Then here we have the 11 domains, which are basically the departments, if you will, that can be active or inactive depending on what you are working on with Rocket Routine OS. You can activate and deactivate them as needed. In the settings, you can make various adjustments related to them and so on. This is all still a bit unclear at the moment when you look at it like this, because of course, in the end, there needs to be a lot more information behind it. But this is just to give you a first impression. Then there are also the actors, for example. That means I can, on the one hand, I have the roles in the system, like here, for example, the administrator. We already have our decision moderator, which is an AI that helps you make decisions using 7 different decision-making procedures and methods. And we have the knowledge personas. For example, I have created Steve jobs here, who can then be part of an advisory board when working on important topics. So in principle, these can be people who you say have special expertise. You can also attach documents to them so they can access those and contribute their opinion on a particular topic or decision. Yes, and of course, we then have people, we have AI operators, and we also have these knowledge personas who come into play here. And next week, I'll show you a whole lot more of these functions and also give you a first look at what Rocket Routine OS is actually supposed to do and can do. That's going to be super exciting. As I said, I've learned an incredible amount this week, especially when I think about the iterations that were necessary to understand how a relatively complex system actually works in the end, and how the programming of Claude is carried out. That's really impressive, and I'm already looking forward to seeing how things will continue from here. I'm going to try out a whole lot of things, take a look at them, and next week there will be a deeper look into Rocket Routine OS. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe to our newsletter. Just kidding, newsletter. Sign up for the waitlist at rocketroutine.com. Then you'll also receive the newsletter once a month. Follow us on LinkedIn, on our LinkedIn page, or on Twitter, or rather X if you're active there. There you'll also find daily updates posted. So see you soon, and we'll see each other next week. Ciao.